ever since my brother raised this issue, brought this to my attention, I thought I misunderstood. 10,046 medically assisted suicides in Canada in 2021 alone, 3.2% of all death in Canada, up 37% from the year before. The history is that a Supreme Court decision outlawed the prohibition on medically assisted suicide because it was unconstitutional, and the Trudeau government expanded it. Boy, howdy, did they expand it. And they want to expand it even more because in the legislation that they passed recently, there was what they call the Sunset Clause, which was a prohibition on medical assistance in dying for the mentally ill and minors, allegedly. And one parliamentarian said that's discriminatory against the mentally ill. They should have as much right to medical assistance in dying as everyone else, the terminally ill. And they said, okay, well, after this a period of time, this exclusion of mentally ill from medically assisted deaths is going to fade into the sunset. And the progressive liberal government, in the name of progress and liberalism, is going to extend the right to end your own life to the mentally ill, that in law typically being a concept that vitiates consent and therefore does not, that prevents people from entering into contracts when they cannot enter into a contract in full awareness of fact and law. 10,000 alphabetized, 10,064 in 2021 alone. Canada had over 300,000 deaths in 2021. 3.27% suicide, medically assisted deaths. People said, Viva, you're being insensitive. It should be up to the person. First of all, I believe in medical assist. I believe in the concept when people are, terminally ill, pain and suffering, anguish, and as an absolute last resort, leaving it to their better discretion of sound mind, not as treatment on par with all other treatments. Because I've read a bunch of articles now. MAIDS is just being offered to many people just as a treatment on par with all other treatments. Yeah, are you in chronic pain? Well, let's see. You could go on painkillers. There's risks. You can have surgery, might not work, or we can kill you. Your choice. All three are equal. One might work. One, might need surgery later on, and the other one is for an eternity. So I do believe in it for people who are indeed terminally ill, who are able to make this decision for themselves. Where was I just going to go with this? Oh, and so set that aside. That's my own personal belief, and one can disagree with that or agree with it. I think it's a tough thing to disagree with. Someone who is terminally ill, in constant pain and anguish, for anyone who's ever seen it, wants to do this. Their inability to do it because of physical constraints should not force them to live a life of pain and suffering. Getting to veterans with PTSD. Oh, that's just a glitch of the system. It's just a mistake. It's an error. Oh, we need more training. Wait until you hear this story. Because at first, I heard of it en diagonale, as we say in French. Like it just came across in the chat. It's like, I have to double check that. I can't believe the story. It might be wrong. It might be misinformation. It might be rumors. It might be insufficient information. Well, okay. And mainstream media gets it wrong sometimes. But when they're reporting on it, if MSN is wrong on the facts, I will update it as soon as I become aware of where it went wrong. But this is coming out of CBC. Horrifying, end quote, that Veterans Affairs raised assisted suicide with troubled veteran, group says. Oh, yeah, you need a group to tell you that. The head of a group that supports Canadian veterans says he was horrified to hear medical assistance in dying was brought up with a veteran who reached out to the Veterans Affairs Canada for help recently. What impact? We're going to get to it. It was a mistake. We need more training. Yeah, bullcrap. Something's happened once. It's happened before. This is not a statistical anomaly. This is not a freak lightning in a bottle 2 times in a row. And by the way, lightning in a bottle has happened before. It'll happen again. If something has happened once, it's happened before, and it will happen again. This is not a one-off. There have been people talking about pressuring the families, pressuring the loved ones. bringing it up when no one else is bringing it up. Not necessarily for PTSD in a veteran, but bringing it up for people who have themselves not brought it up. So we've heard the stories. Now we just have a specific, concrete, confirmed example. Officials with the federal department confirmed to CBC News that they have issued an apology directly to the veteran and launched a thorough and internal. Can you imagine this? We're sorry. We literally told you or suggested that you end your life. You called up for help. We've apologized. And what are we going to do after our grotesque incompetence, borderline criminal incompetence? We're going to launch an investigation. We're going to create a body to investigate the body that just screwed up. We're going to create another government entity to investigate the existing government entity that just screwed up. And we're sorry. We're sorry we literally told you to. It's just horrifying, said Scott Maxwell, Executive Director of Wounded Warriors Canada. A, how is that veteran and the family doing? And then B, what's the impact this will have on other veterans who might be in a similar state, wanting to pick up a phone, calling an agent or a case manager to seek care? Not just that, by the way. How is this going to affect people to call up now, also knowing how the government might weaponize their fragile or their anguished mental states? We know what the government's been doing with certain, tracking apps, following citizens, spying on citizens, weaponizing what they can weaponize for political purposes. Veterans now are going to be reluctant to call up, not just because they might get horrendously criminal advice, recommendations, but also because the government might just abuse of their state for other purposes. Red flag laws, for example. If just one veteran does not make the phone call, we have ourselves a significant problem. Skipping along a little bit, continue reading. But it's only happened once, people. Don't worry. In a statement, officials with Veterans Affairs said the department deeply regrets what transpired in the unnamed veterans case, which led to a global news report earlier this month. More training promised. Oh, the statement said no evidence has been found of similar incidents happening, and they believe this to be an isolated event. The department also said it would deliver additional training. Yeah, don't recommend the end of life to veterans calling up in need of help. You need training for that? This is exactly why government is a make-work project. They do it badly, and then they make more work for themselves to correct the mistake that they made because they did it badly in the first place. The government is the only place that fails up, fails out, and fails, thus expanding its own power. After the story broke, Veterans Affairs Minister Lori Macaulay posted a statement on social media calling the incident completely unacceptable, adding, "I deeply regret the harm caused to this veteran and their family in a time of need." Now I just put something together. Okay, never mind. Wounded Warriors of Canada. So that's what's going on in Canada. When you see the number exploding year over year, 10,000 Canadians, and then you find out one accident like this, here's a bold statement. There are other accidents like this. There are other abuses. There are other issues that result from lack of government training, or some might say that result from government training. If it's happened once, it's happened before, and with a number that has exploded 37% year over year to 10,000 Canadians, there's a problem. This is not the only thing that needs to be investigated, people. In fairness, I can genuinely see a lefty giving the, despite it not being, okay, I'm not going to read that, but thank you for the super chat. I'm not your buddy guy. And if anybody doesn't know where that avatar from, that is from Blame Canada, South Park, Bigger, Longer, Uncut. John Yarber, I am a Desert Storm vet, served under H.R. McMaster's in E Troop. The VA sucks, and they want to get rid of anyone who might oppose them. And you realize when Canada and the Trudeau government implements certain red flag laws, certain special surveillance that certain risks might need, and you effectively deter people, and the people who have served this very country from seeking the help that they need and that they deserve, because they get vilified, potentially worse, and every now and again told to off themselves, or not told, just suggested. Yeah. I mean, how does that even come up? Okay. I heard that. I'm going to leave this up before it. I heard the veteran being recommended to end his life on this planet was an individual agent incident and not actual advice they should provide. Not sure that makes it any difference. Will you do a public meetup in Florida? Love to meet you. A public meetup or like a meet and greet could be very, very fun. Haven't actually put much thought into it, but so that's what's going on, people. There's nothing to see here except there's a lot to see here.